Hi, this is Ian Finley. I'm a Vice President of Research with Gartner in our Application Development Group. And I'm going to talk today about keeping Agile projects on time and on budget. As you probably know, almost half of software projects are either late or over budget. And traditional project management actually waterfall project management tends to actually encourage this behavior of late or over budget projects. Part of the reason why is because when a project gets to a certain point and it's reached the end of its schedule or the end of its budget, but it's not finished, in a traditional waterfall project, the only option is to continue with the project. You can't actually stop it. Or if you do stop it, you're probably going to lose all of the investment you've made so far. What Agile does is it actually allows us to break up projects into smaller pieces and, if needed, actually stop the project either to maintain schedule or to maintain budget and still have a viable product come out of the development environment. So one of the other things that maybe isn't as well understood is that many software applications or software projects developed using traditional methods will deliver software that's not used very often and may not deliver much business value. And that's because when we begin a software project, we don't always know clearly what are the most crucial parts of the system and which parts will actually be used. So by delivering smaller projects and getting them into use with users, we get much better feedback on what parts of the application are being used and what parts are most crucial to develop next. Finally, instead of using a phased funding model, where sometimes projects are funded through, say, requirements, and then funded through design, and then funded through testing, through development and testing. What we recommend in an Agile model is to actually fund several small projects, each one with its own analysis, design, development, and testing phases. And that way, as time progresses, if priorities change or if the project begins to consume more time or more budget than anticipated, you can make a business decision about whether to continue to fund it or whether you should stop with the project as it stands. Key to this is identifying for each one of these smaller projects what we would call a minimum viable product. So your goal is not to satisfy every requirement that the customer can think of at the beginning of the project, but the minimum amount of features that the customer could use in order to get value out of the effort. You start with the smallest set of features and capabilities, and then when that's completed, you can then look at what are the next highest priority items that should be part of the second project. Also, when putting together requirements for an Agile project, they should be broken down into must-haves, should-haves, and could-haves. And in general, the project should only include project planning should only include must-haves and some of the high-priority should-haves. And that will give you the flexibility to potentially just deliver the must-haves if things are running over, or deliver more of the should-haves and even the could-haves if you're moving ahead more quickly than expected. And then the final thing is, at each point when you finish one of these smaller projects, you should reevaluate whether the follow-on projects are really necessary and evaluate the return on investment that's expected, because oftentimes what folks find is that the initial project or the initial few projects build out enough functionality that most of the business value is being extracted, and they learn that the rest of their requirements are probably not must-haves, but are things that are better left for another time. So I hope that helps you understand the differences between how agile projects can help keep projects on schedule versus traditional waterfall approaches.